If you have a Tacoma and you have a lot of lights, a lot of off-road lights, you got a winch, a lot of accessories, so you plan to put a lot of accessories, eventually your truck's gonna look like this with a bunch of wires. So if you go to Overland Equipped, you could find for 3rd-gen Tacomas the mount to do the fuse kit, auxiliary fuse kit. But if you also have a manual transmission, you have the issue of you need to relocate that clutch reservoir. So when you go to Overland Equipped, they're not telling me to make a video, they're not paying me to say this. I've been looking for months for a bracket that would work for that, for manual transmission Tacomas. So if you go Overland Equipped, they sell you the bracket. And I figured I'd make this video to help those Tacoma people that have a manual transmission truck. Because I see a bunch of videos on the automatics, but none on a manual transmission 3rd-gen Tacoma. So we're gonna mount this up. It comes with one set of bolts. This is to secure it on the sides, and that alone. You will still have to buy your Blue Sea fuse block with some fuses. I already got fuses for it. Those fuses don't come with it, as well as a series circuit breaker. That one's, I got 100 amp. They have different ones. You could buy these on Amazon, and then this you actually have to get through Overland Equipped. It's really just $10 more for this bracket. I think in total is like $70 to $80, which is a little pricey, but if you're tired of that looking like that ugly and want easy use to install more lights in the future, it'd be easier going this route from here. Again, dude, don't pay me to say this. They don't even know I'm making a video. I just decided to make a video to help people out that have a manual transmission truck with that fender reservoir. One thing I did not know, these do not come with screws to bolt it onto this bracket. This bracket neither has screws to bolt this on there. That will have to be provided by yourself. You go to your local hardware store and buy little bolts to bolt that and secure that onto this bracket. One bolt you're gonna have to loosen will be this bolt right here, and then you loosen these two, this one and that one, and you're gonna move this to, if I'm correct, on this side. This is gonna go kind of below the bracket, out of the way. So I'm gonna start taking it apart and I'll install it and show you how it looks. Overland Equipped does show you a basic instruction installation to install this. I wish they would have more detailed photos, but it's kind of self-explanatory if you look at this photo here. So we're gonna go by that photo, pre-install that bracket, that small bracket on the big one, and then bolt it on. One other thing you will have to provide is these terminal connectors. If you do not have any, you're gonna have to provide you with some of these to wire it up, as well as if you do not have pre-installed wires like this already, you would have to get some wires as well. And then these inline fuses I'm gonna get rid of and connect it straight to that fuse block. According to your instruction manual, it sits like this, and your bracket bolts in like this. So you're gonna just flip it around, get to where the circle is towards you, and flip, and then install this bracket. Later on, while trying to install, I noticed that I had to get that manual bracket in all the way towards the back. Just how that bracket there looks flush right there. Looks like this is flush. So you can still move it in and out if it's in the way of something. So we're gonna figure that out together. So, but she's ready to bolt on. Now that I have that installed, this is where your clutch reservoir should be installed to. That's your relocation area. So the bolts that come actually with this kit are for your mount for your relocation kit. They are 13 millimeter bolts, and the factory bolts you used that are in this reservoir you use for this mount. So I had to retake off this bracket again due to the mount for your relocation for your reservoir. If you pre-bolt that in, you won't get your fuse box in. So I pulled those old bolts off, I put small bolts in, and I put longer bolts, longer fastener screws. So now I could go through the fuse box and through this panel on one bolt essentially, and then go from there. Another thing I had to do, if you have your rig already filled with lights, remove your wires, because it's actually a tight fit. It sits pretty low on there, so if you have wires under it, you're probably gonna have a hard time wiring it onto the fuse box. So I decided to just mark all the power ones on one side, all the black ones, pull them out of the way while I install it, and then we'll go from there. She's halfway in there. I'm gonna start wiring the fuses, but I did mess up, and I ordered the wrong circuit breaker. I ordered 285 series circuit breaker. It asked for a 185 series on their website, so that is totally my fault. I ordered the wrong one for the fuse box. I guess it worked because it's mounted. Blade fuse block. I just ordered the correct circuit breaker, so it's arriving tomorrow morning on Amazon, and we're gonna install it in the morning. But for now, I'm gonna finish just wiring these wires. Ground goes on top, positive goes on the bottoms, and then this would be your positive from the circuit breaker to this. From the circuit breaker, it goes to your battery, and then your ground goes over here to this ground wire right here, or you could go directly to battery, whatever. But this is how it mounts. There's your relocation kit for your clutch reservoir. Pretty tight fit. Still gotta tighten the one right here. I gotta tighten this one right here still, but see, looks way better now. Besides all this clusterfuck, but yeah, let's keep it going. Hello, it's the next morning. Before I stopped last night, I want to get to a stopping point. Well, when this was finished, I have all of this wired up. I finished all of that already, and take that off. So positives and then negatives here. This negative here, I don't have a black wire to run the negative to the ground, so I just hit the ends, showing that it is a negative wire. This wire should be a little thicker than your regular wires that go to your fuses. And suggestion, if you don't know what you're doing, make sure this is a black wire. I'm a mechanic, so I ain't worried about that. But on the this circuit breaker, as I said, I did get the wrong one. I got the 285 series, and this mount was supposed to be a 187 series. I also believe I said yesterday it was supposed to be a 185 series. I misspoke. It's actually a 187 series. It's all because this one is circular for this mount. Pull it out. It is a circular design, so it's a quick drop in. A bolt here, bolt there. Probably use the same style bolts like I use here, and then put some wires through it. One wire goes to the from the circuit breaker to the fuse box, and then the other wire goes from the circuit breaker to your positive lead on your battery, and then we're done. Cheers. I'm gonna use the same wire, same thickness wire I used for the ground, and then we'll make sure everything works. All lights works, and you could have, if you have a test light or a voltmeter, you could check if you got your positives here. These I don't have wired up, so I have 6 more spots for 6 more accessories, as well on the ground as well. I just decided to install fuses. I'd rather have extras than no extras, so I went that route. When you get your circuit breaker box, it does come with labelers, so you could little label stickies, so you could put the stickies on here and write what it goes for, and so you can remember, oh, this is for the roof rack, these are for the hood lights, and so on and so forth. So let's get to installing this. I still have this bracket loose, just because I wanted to, maybe I needed to loosen it completely again to finish installing this piece, and then it'll be done. Let's see what happens from here. And that is the finished product. The bottom bolts for the terminals of the circuit breaker is a 14mm, and then this goes to one side, it goes to the other side. That means it's on. If it pops, it would switch this way. I confirmed I had voltage on both sides. I checked all my fuses had voltage, and I checked all my grounds were good. So if you know how to use a voltmeter, you could do that yourself. But that is the finished view of the fuse auxiliary mount for a manual transmission Tacoma. I just want to point out, be very careful with this reservoir. This reservoir cannot take any air. If it does take air, and if you're just not sure, pump the pedal on your clutch pedal, just to be sure. If you do not know what you're doing, this could be very dangerous if you get air in here and your clutch pedal isn't working correctly down the road. So make sure when you start doing this, keep this as high as possible. Not trying to get any air pockets into your clutch system, and make sure your hoses don't get kink or a hole. That's also really bad. So but yeah, hopefully I help some people. If you do not know what you're doing, just get it done by professionally. You do not want to risk it, especially with the clutch reservoir. With doing it incorrectly, you'll find out real fast that when you are finished, your clutch pedal doesn't work. So, but yep, thanks for watching. Hope you liked the video, and see you guys later.